23 people, parents, siblings, aunts, uncles, a great aunt, formed a silent, suffocating semicircle. It wasn't a family meeting. It was an ambush. An emergency tribunal convened over his audacity to live his own life. Elias, we are concerned. His mother, Esther, began, her voice tight, clutching a cream-colored folder like a legal brief. You've isolated yourself. You're pursuing unrealistic ventures. You're throwing away the stability we offered. Elias's crime? Launching a digital strategy firm at 25, finding financial independence, and, most unforgivable, missing the obligatory, soul-draining Sunday dinners. To them, autonomy was a clinical diagnosis. His father, Robert, leaned forward, his face etched with disapproval. You were a dutiful son. Now you're selfish, ungrateful. We've arranged for a specialist in family systems to help you. One by one, they delivered their prepared statements, each a thinly veiled accusation of how Elias's success was a personal slight. His brother, Silas, complained Elias was too busy to listen to his crypto trading woes. His sister, Mara, was deeply wounded. He'd skipped her friend's housewarming, claiming the lack of family support made her feel abandoned. You'll be moving back home, of course, Esther finalized, her tone implying this was a closed matter. You need to reset your priorities. He inhaled slowly, the air thick with stale judgment. Then he rose. I appreciate the sheer effort involved in this performance, he said, his voice level, cutting through the silence like ice. But we're focusing on the wrong problem. He reached into his own coat pocket and placed his slim portfolio on the coffee table. Not on his life, but on theirs. Mom, he began, turning to Esther. Last month, you called me 17 times, not to ask about my business, but because you couldn't remember your Netflix password. You're a brilliant woman, yet you treat your eldest son like a 24/7 personal assistant instead of a colleague. He pivoted to his brother. Silas, you borrowed $1,500 for a critical business investment, which turned out to be a classic card detailing kit. You haven't repaid a dime, yet you're enraged that I won't drop a client presentation for your poker night. Robert's jaw tightened as Elias faced him. Dad, you haven't asked me one genuine question about my firm since I incorporated it. You don't understand that I manage million-dollar campaigns, but you're convinced it's not a real job because I don't punch a clock in a sterile office park. Your definition of success is a cage, not a goal. He moved around the room with surgical precision, calmly presenting evidence of how each of them used guilt and manipulative dependency to tether him to their comfort zone. Aunt Vivian, you told the entire bridge club I was floundering because I still drive a sedan instead of leasing a luxury SUV. You never once inquired about my profit margins. You only saw my divergence from your approved budget. Mara, you felt abandoned by my missing a party, but you actively declined to attend my firm's launch event. You called it a trivial career thing compared to a traditional family milestone. You don't want support, you want compliance. So, here is my counter-intervention, Elias announced, placing his palms flat on the table. This family suffers from an unhealthy addiction to control. You've mistaken love for ownership and support for the right to veto my happiness. I'm not moving back. I'm not seeing a therapist for being independent, and I will not apologize for building a life that excites me instead of one that merely comforts you. He zipped his coat. He was already at the door, but he paused, locking eyes with them. Here's the deal. I will attend a family therapy session. 1. If every person here is willing to honestly examine why my independence feels like a threat to your collective identity. Half the relatives doubled down on their victimhood, framing Elias's clarity as a vicious attack. But the other half, the ones who truly cared, began to see the patterns of codependency and arrested emotional growth. His great aunt, Flora, the matriarch, approached him a week later. I was so scared to lose the easy access to you. I tried to convince myself you were failing, she admitted, her voice trembling. I made my loneliness your duty. That was unfair. Robert eventually showed up at Elias's office with coffee, genuinely asking about the technology his firm used. He admitted he projected his own anxieties onto Elias's brave choices. I was afraid to take risks, he confessed. Seeing you succeed forces me to face my own caution. 6 months later, Elias's firm had doubled its staff and was consulting for national brands. The intervention hadn't fixed him. It had forced the family to choose between genuine connection and stifling control. The relationships that survived were honest, stronger, and finally based on respect. The truly healthy thing, Elias learned, wasn't to be fixed, but to refuse to be broken.